Good morning, friends. Today's discussion under the GST is sale of old and used capital assets by a running business entity. Friends, today's discussion will confine only to used fixed assets by business entities, will not cover the transfer of business as a going concern where some assets are also transferred. Will not discuss. We are aware that these are exempt by the entry number 2 of notification number 12/17. Similarly, we will not discuss sale and purchase of used goods by the persons engaged in such business of sale and purchase of used goods, such as motor vehicle, empty bottles, old jewelries, e-auction, otherwise. So we are aware that these are taxable as per the margin scheme under Rule 32(5). This is not our today's scope. So our today's discussion is sale of used assets by the running business entity. Before we look into the taxability, let us look into the definition of capital goods, which has been defined under section 2 subsection 19, which says that capital goods means goods the value of which is capitalized in the books of accounts by the person claiming the input tax credit, which are used or intended to be used in the course or furtherance of the business. So therefore, three essentials are that the value of which is capitalized in the books of accounts, number 1, number 2, input tax credit has been claimed, and number 3, intended to be used in the course or furtherance of the business. So what are not the capital goods for the purpose of GST? We may say that which are not capitalized, which are simply debited to P&L. These are the illustrations of other fixed assets. Before we look into the liability, let us also look into the definition of business. This is very, very essential. We are aware the definition of term supply under section 7 is activity in the course or furtherance of the business. Therefore, there must be a business to tax a particular transaction. So, what is the business? As per section 2 subsection 17, business includes any trade, commerce, manufacture, profession, vocation, adventure, wager, or any other similar activities, whether or not it is for a pecuniary benefit. Certainly, there may or may not be monetary benefit. There may be some other benefit, but the activity, I am repeating, should be trade, commerce, manufacture, profession, vocation, adventure, wager, or any other similar activities. The clause B says any activity or transaction in connection with or incidental or ancillary to subclause A. So meaning thereby any activity which is incidental or ancillary to trade, commerce, manufacture, etc. is also to be considered as business. These would be considered as business whether or not there is volume, frequency, continuity, or regularity. Clause D says that supply or acquisition of goods, including the capital goods, in connection with or closure of the business is also business. Therefore, we are confining our definition on the definition of business only to these 4 clauses which are relevant for the purpose of our discussion. So, unless we are covered within the definition of business, the transaction would not be taxable. Let us look into the first case, whether an individual who is simply receiving the salary and interest income, whether he is doing the business, the answer would be no. The business says that any trade, commerce, manufacture, etc., he is not doing any such activity, therefore he is not a business. Supposing such person sells his old furniture or car, will that be taxable? Answer is again no, because he is not doing any business. This has also been clarified by CBIC in question number 10 of the FAQ released by them. That is, an individual buys a car for personal use and after a year sells it to a car dealer. Will it be supply in terms of GST Act? The answer was no, because the supply is not made by the individual in the course of furtherance of the business. Therefore, it is not a supply. It is also stated that that person is not eligible for ITC, that we are aware that ITC is not available when the asset is for non-business purposes. The next one is whether charitable trust which is not doing any business, what would be the case? Let us take a case. Supposing a trust is there who simply accepts the general donation. These are not the specific purpose donation. There is no element of advertisement, and it spends that amount for the purpose of charity, maybe corona, maybe tsunami, or for other purposes. He is not required for registration because he is not providing any services. He is also not liable for registration because there is no RCM activity. Supposing such type of trust sells his old furniture, whether it is liable for GST, the answer would again be no, because there is no element of business. It is not taxable. We have seen the definition of supply. This is in the course or furtherance of the business. In our illustration, we have taken that there is no element of business and supply whatsoever by the trust. To look into the taxability of the capital goods and capital assets, we are dividing our entire category activities into 4 parts. First is the sale of capital goods on which ITC has been claimed under the GST. I am repeating, first category is sale of capital goods on which ITC is claimed under the GST Act. Friends, these are covered under section 18.6. 18.6 says that in case of supply of capital goods on which ITC has been taken, the person shall pay the unavailed ITC or the tax on the transaction value, whichever is the higher. So what is how to calculate the unavailed ITC? For this purpose, they have said that the useful life of the capital assets is 5 years, and pro rata basis we have to calculate 5, meaning thereby 5% per quarter. So let us take one small illustration. Suppose capital goods is purchased on 1st January 2020 for 1 lakh rupees, ITC 18,000. It is sold in June 2020 for 80,000. In this case, what is the taxable? So by looking at the unavailed ITC is 18,000 multiplied by 90%. We have used 10%, 5% per quarter. We have this asset has been retained by us for 2 quarters. Therefore, unavailed is 90%. 90% comes out to 16,200. The second value would be 80,000 multiplied by 18% is equal to 14,400. Higher of these two, 16,200 and 14,400, tax payable would be 16,200. So we have to calculate by applying this formula where the capital goods has been sold on which ITC has been claimed. Friends, this formula particularly in relation to ITC is not applicable in case of sale of refractory bricks, molds and dies, jigs and furnitures which are supplied as a scrap. In these cases, the person would pay tax only on the transaction value. Next point is again very important, that we are aware that proportionate ITC is required to be reversed under Rule 43, where asset is partly used for non-business purpose or partly to be used for exempt supplies. Supposing I have already reversed certain ITC under Rule 43, what would happen? For the purpose of 18.6, should I take the gross ITC or net ITC? Net ITC means after reversal. My answer in this case would be that for the purpose of 18.6, we'll take only the net ITC and not the gross ITC. This is the logical answer as well. Then friends, these values would be determined separately for IGST Act, CGST Act and the State GST Act, and it will be shown as output tax liability in the GSTR1 return wherever tax is payable and where there is positive value. Friends, next category is sale of old and used motor vehicles when blocked under section 17.5 and no ITC is claimed. If the ITC is claimed on the motor vehicles, for example, I am reselling or I am using for the specified purposes specified under section 17.5, then this would be covered under previous discussion. But where ITC has not been claimed, in that case, government has issued notification number 8 by 2018 CTR and notification number 9/2018 ITR dated 25th January 2018, whereby concessional rate of GST has been specified on intrastate and interstate supply of old and used motor vehicles. They have also issued notification number 1 by 2018 under the cess, whereby they have exempted supply of old and used motor vehicle from the levy of compensation cess. The features of these notifications are that the person has not claimed ITC under the GST Act or the erstwhile SENVAT Act or the State VAT Act. The benefit of these notification would be available on old and used motor vehicle. These notifications are applicable only on the motor vehicles and not to the other assets. In these cases, what would happen? They have given two circumstances. First circumstance is that where the depreciation has been claimed under the Income Tax Act. In this case, where the depreciation has been claimed, the margin would be calculated by reducing the consideration from the depreciated value. If the consideration is more than the depreciated value, then the amount tax would be payable. If the consideration for sale of the old assets is less than the depreciated value, then that tax would not be payable. And the second circumstance where depreciation has not been claimed, in that case the tax would be the value would be arrived by reducing the sale price minus the purchase price. So if the sale price is more than the purchase price, then tax would be payable, otherwise no. Friends, we have to note that this margin would be calculated asset wise and not on gross basis. अगर एक एसेट का में प्रॉफिट है और दूसरे में लॉस है तो लॉस को इग्नोर किया जाएगा और प्रॉफिट वाले में टैक्स पे किया जाएगा. रेट उन्होंने फर्दर उन्हें प्रेस्क्राइब किए हैं, पूरी टेबल है. मैं इसमें इंपॉर्टेंट इसका जो क्रक्स है वो बतला देता हूँ कि इन दिस केस if the engine capacity of the vehicle is 1200 cc or more, then rate of, I'm repeating, is less than 1200 cc, then the rate of tax would be 12%, otherwise it would be 18%. So this is the general. You have to go to the table to look at the final rate. Generally ये है कि 1200 cc से कम की vehicle है, then 12%, otherwise the rate would be at 18%. So friend, this was the sale of capital goods, sale of old and motor vehicles on which ITC has not been claimed. Now friends, we have a look on other business fixed assets. Agar sale of land and building, friend, these are not taxable. Entry number 5 or schedule 3. This says there is neither supply of goods nor services, not taxable. इसके अलावा अगर और कोई बिजनेस एसेट्स होती हैं तो जनरली these would be taxable at transaction value. It is a material whether ITC under the state VAT or SENVAT Act has been claimed in the pre-GST regime. तो हमारी कैटेगरी क्या हुई? एक तो कैपिटल गुड्स हो गई, कैपिटल गुड्स में हमने पहले देख लिया. इसके अलावा मोटर व्हीकल हो गया, मोटर व्हीकल में कंसेशनल रेट आ गया. इसके अलावा लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग आ गया, लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग नॉन टैक्सेबल आ गया. इसके अलावा अगर कुछ बचता है देन दैट वुड बी टैक्सेबल एट ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू वेदर और नॉट वी हैव क्लेम्ड आईटीसी. अगर कोई मान लीजिए रजिस्टर्ड अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन है, अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन, देन दिस सपोजिंग किसी अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन की सेल है 15 लाख रुपए और फॉर अदर पर्पसेज, और वो कोई अपनी बिजनेस एसेट और बेच देते हैं 6 लाख रुपए. Now the turnover would be more than 20 lakhs, they will require registration. लेकिन अगर बिजनेस एसेट्स वो 4 लाख की बेचते हैं तो since the threshold limit is less than 20 lakh rupees, it would not be required for registration. नेक्स्ट कैटेगरी फ्रेंड्स हम ले लेते हैं सेल ऑफ नॉन बिजनेस एसेट्स, और इसमें पर्टिकुलरली सोल प्रोप्राइटर को लेंगे क्योंकि सोल प्रोप्राइटर के इसमें प्रॉब्लम जरा कुछ ज़्यादा आती हैं. वी आर टेकिंग those fixed assets which have not been capitalized in our books of accounts. So अगर हम सोल प्रोप्राइटर को देखें फ्रेंड्स तो ये बड़ा पिक्यूलर से केस हो जाते हैं, क्योंकि बिकॉज सोल प्रोप्राइटर जनरली इज हैविंग द GSTN which is based upon PAN, और PAN में उसके बिजनेस एज वेल एज नॉन बिजनेस एसेट्स होंगे. बिजनेस एसेट्स वो तो हमने सब देख ही लिया, उसकी टैक्सेबिलिटी वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिसाइडेड. बट व्हाट वुड हैपन टू दी non-business assets which have neither been capitalized nor been debited to pay and earn? For example, वो अपने पर्सनल इफेक्ट्स की आइटम बेचते हैं, ज्वेलरी बेचते हैं, ओल्ड पेंटिंग बेचते हैं, या हाउस होल्ड फर्नीचर या पर्सनल कार. व्हाट वुड बी दैट? इन दैट केस द आंसर वुड बी दैट सिंस these goods are not used for the purpose of the business, these are not in the course of furtherance of the business, therefore these are not the supply and would not be taxable. The next question comes that whether this value would be included in the aggregate turnover for the purpose of registration. because turnover includes taxable plus exempt supply. My answer would be that such assets would also not be included in the aggregate turnover, because aggregate turnover is taxable plus exempted supply. If activity is not a supply at all, then the question of exemption does not arise. Therefore, it will not be included in the definition of the term aggregate turnover. Friends, दो एडवांस रूलिंग आई पिछले दिनों आई. एक तो श्री सवाई मनोहर लाल राठी, दिस वाज डेटेड 19th April 2020, AAR Gujarat, and another was Anil Kumar Agarwal, dated 4th May 2020, AR Karnataka. In both these cases, the question was whether interest on PF and saving account would be included in the aggregate turnover. Friends, in both the cases, the answer was that yes. In the case of Shri Savai Manohar Lal, the applicant also argued that interest received is not a supply and does not attract tax, as it is neither in the course of business nor in the furtherance of the business. However, AR does not consider these arguments, and he simply jumped to the exemption entry number 27 of notification number 12/17, which exempt the interest and held that it is exempted income, therefore it would be included. Friends, the AR forgot to see that unless the activity is a supply, there is no need to refer to the exemption entry. First of all, meaning thereby, first of all, we have to consider whether activity falls within the definition of supply, and supply के लिए जरूरी है कि business. तो meaning thereby कि business, if it is a business, then there would be supply. If it is supply, then we'll look into whether it is taxable or exemption. अगर exemption तो तभी आएगी ना जिस समय supply होगी. अगर supply नहीं है तो exemption कहाँ से आएगी? तो मेरा मानना है कि advance ruling authority had not considered that this was not a supply at all, and it simply jumped into the exemption entry. और वैसे भी फ्रेंड्स जो जनरली जो इन्वेस्टमेंट इन पीपीएफ और सेविंग अकाउंट होते हैं वो बिजनेस नहीं हुआ करता है. वो बेसिकली आउट ऑफ योर प्रॉफिट यू इन्वेस्ट इन दीज स्कीम्स. दीज कैन नॉट बी कंसिडर्ड एज सप्लाई. और मेरा मानना है कि टू दैट एक्सटेंट AR decision should have considered this argument as well. लेकिन हाँ, certainly अगर मान लीजिए कोई एक FD है which is used for the purpose of business, for example है कि मैं अपनी पर्सनल FD लेता हूँ और उस FD को मैं अपने कैश क्रेडिट लिमिट के लिए, मार्जिन मनी के लिए रख देता हूँ. इन दैट केस दिस FD इज यूज्ड फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ बिजनेस. और अगर वहाँ पे कोई इंटरेस्ट आता है then would certainly be included as that exempted turnover. It is certainly a supply and would be treated as exempted turnover. लेकिन इसके अलावा if it's not in course of business, then that would not be considered as supply. Next case ले लेते हैं friends. Sale of fixed assets by school, doctor or hospital on which no ITC has been claimed because they are providing the exempted services. Friends, in these cases, these are taxable at the transaction value, that is the sale of old furniture by the school or old lab equipment by the path lab or the doctor or hospital, because hospital services and healthcare services and education services have been considered as a business and these have been exempted. These are the exempted supply. When the person sells these fixed assets, that certainly it is incidental to the main activity. Main activity is certainly the business. Therefore, the incidental activity would also be considered as business. It would be taxable at the transaction value even if no ITC has been claimed. Friends, अगर कोई exemption कहीं पर होगी तो मिल जाएगी, लेकिन अगर exemption नहीं है तो कोई भी नहीं मिलेगी. इसके अलावा फ्रेंड्स एक अगला इंटरेस्टिंग क्वेश्चन आता है कि इनका जनरल रेट क्या टैक्स होगा. वेदर these would be taxable at the rate of tax applicable to the new goods और या कोई इसका कोई स्क्रैप वेस्टेज का कोई एक सेपरेट रेट है. इसमें एक दूसरा क्वेश्चन में आता है कि सपोजिंग मैं अपनी कैपिटल गुड्स को एज ए स्क्रैप बेचता हूँ, नॉट एज ए कैपिटल गुड्स. एक तो होता है कि मैंने अपनी गाड़ी को पुरानी गाड़ी करके बेचा, एक होता है कि मैंने अपने प्रिंटर को पुराना प्रिंटर करके बेचा, और एक है कि मैंने उसे कबाड़ी को बेच दिया एज ए स्क्रैप. तो वहाँ पर क्या पोजिशन आएगी फ्रेंड्स? हमारे दो एंट्रीज हैं, हम उसको देख लेते हैं। एक तो हमारी ई वेस्ट एंट्री है चैप्टर 80 विच इज एंट्री नंबर 234A, विच सेज दैट items covered under 84-85 would be taxable at 5% provided these are specified in Schedule 1 of E-Waste Management Rules 2016. Friends, this schedule generally covers telephone, mobile phones, computer, laptop, notebooks, printers, TV, fridge, washing machine, AC. So other than that, these are not the e-waste. एक एंट्री और है, वेस्ट टू एनर्जी प्लांट्स एंड डिवाइसेस अंडर चैप्टर 84, 94 एंड 85. दिस इज एंट्री नंबर 234. यहाँ पर भी 5% का रेट है. एंड इसके अलावा मुझे कोई स्पेसिफिक एंट्री वेस्ट एंड स्क्रैप की नहीं मिली है, पर्टिकुलर इन रिलेशन टू द फिक्स एसेट्स. तो all these sale would be taxable at the respective rate. Whatever is applicable to the new goods, this would also be applicable to the old goods. एक और क्वेश्चन आ जाता है कि अगर मैं बिजनेस क्लोज करता हूं और एसेट्स को पीस मिल बेसिस पे बेचता हूं, देन व्हाट वुड बी द एप्लीकेबिलिटी ऑफ द जीएसटी. अगर फ्रेंड्स, अगर मैं बिजनेस को क्लोज करते समय अपनी एसेट्स को सेल करता हूं, अगर मैं अपना आरसी कैंसिल करवाता हूं तो सेक्शन 29 की तरह से जाएंगे. अगर ऐसे आरसी कैंसिल करवाने से पहले मैं एसेट्स को पीस मिल बेसिस पे बेचता हूं तो इनकी टैक्सेबिलिटी उसी तरह से डिसाइड करी जाएगी जिस तरह से हमने पीछे डिसाइड करा है. जो हमने पिछली क्लॉसेज पर, पिछले डिस्कशन में जितना भी पार्ट है, वही एज इट इज एप्लीकेबल होगा. तो विद दिस let us first conclude, then summarize what we have discussed. Friends, sale of capital goods on which ITC is claimed, सेक्शन 18(6) एप्लीकेबल होगा. हम अपनी टैक्स लायबिलिटी उससे डिसाइड करेंगे. सेल ऑफ अदर मोटर व्हीकल्स यूज्ड इन द बिजनेस ऑन विच ITC हैज नॉट बीन क्लेम, नोटिफिकेशन नंबर 8/2018, 25 जनवरी 18 का एप्लीकेबल होगा. और उसमें डेप्रिसिएटेड और अदर एसेट्स के बारे में बताया. और रेट ऑफ टैक्स इज मैक्सिमम रेट ऑफ टैक्स इज 18%. सेस उसमें नहीं लगेगा. सेल ऑफ अदर बिजनेस एसेट्स, सेल ऑफ अदर बिजनेस एसेट्स वुड बी टैक्सेबल एट द ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू. Friends, these would be taxable at transaction value. It is immaterial whether or not ITC or SANVAT has been claimed under the pre-GST regime. And last is the sale of assets not used in the course or furtherance of the business. These are, even if these are not in the course of furtherance of the business, nor these are incidental, in these cases these are not the supply and would not be taxable. So friends, I'd like to conclude whatever discussion in respect of sale of capital goods and other fixed assets. Friends, I am thankful to everyone for your observation, for your mail, for your messages in respect of various queries. अगर कोई भी आपको किसी भी तरह का डिस्कशन करना है, you can anytime mail to me. So friends, पर्पस इन सब वीडियोस का यही है, टू एनरिच अवर नॉलेज. अगर हमारी नॉलेज बढ़ेगी तो इसमें नॉलेज आपकी और मेरी सभी की बढ़ेगी. तो इसलिए आपको कभी भी कोई भी अगर आप डिस्कशन करना, यू कैन एनी टाइम मेल टू मी, विल सर्टेनली हैव ए डिस्कशन ऑन दैट. मेरे जितने पुराने जितने भी वीडियोज़ हैं, यू कैन गो टू माई यूट्यूब चैनल एंड हैव whenever so required. With this, I like to thank everyone. Thank you, friends.